Tisha, he said he wants to talk about Diddy, so we're gonna talk about Diddy because there is a lot of new charges. We not gonna stay on the topic too long because I definitely want to see what Graham C was talking about with this congressperson or this politician. And then Uno, what's your question while I pull this up? What's your question so I could decide whether or not I'm gonna answer it. And I'll see. I'm trying to find a good summary of the latest Diddy charges that's not that long. I can't find one, so we'll just skip through this one. Yeah, we'll just skim through this.
Think about it. Like,
look at the mountains of evidence federal investigators collected at the homes of P. Diddy leading up to his indictment. This includes things like guns, ammunition, electronic evidence, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant. To understand all this and how it relates to Diddy's case, we're hearing from former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News. Major news this week out of New York, where now disgraced rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested and taken into custody. On Monday, a grand jury...
Brother C is in the chat. What's good, sir? Thank you for joining. Please share the stream if you didn't mind. 7 Record says, did my mom do things around the house, or did your dad or y'all kids had to do the work around the house? My mom did everything around the house. Like, she made us do our own work as well, but like, she cooked, she cleaned, she did the dishes, but then like, she definitely made me and my sister do our dishes and do our chores as well. So yeah, it was both, but like, she never stopped doing it. She just like, at a certain point, she stopped doing my stuff. I think probably by the time I was like 13, she probably stopped doing my laundry. She always cooked for us, but she stopped doing my laundry, and like, yeah, probably 13, maybe a little bit before that. Brother C said both, mainly us. Your mom is for a... I don't know what you meant by that, but I feel like I get the sentiment.
The jury indicted him on multiple federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Homeland Security took Diddy into custody at
the cook don't clean in the house. I like that rule.
Team. Diddy's been in the city for the past week ahead of these anticipated charges. So Diddy may have had a heads up that these charges were...
Tisha, he says, all I'm going to say is that Diddy really thought he was above God and above the law. Thought he was truly untouchable. Cassie opened the floodgates for people to really start coming forward. Graham C says, my mom is still retroactively charging me for the food we ate. LOL, Jewish moms are tough. T Shahid, I can't I do think that power definitely went to his head. You know what I'm saying? Power definitely went to his head. It's funny because the first I said a couple days ago how important Bad Boy and Biggie was to my hip hop journey. And you know, when I was still in the mentality of wanting to sign a record deal, and when I, you know, finally got my foot in the door, and you know, you start getting a peek behind the curtain of what's going on, and people ask you, you know, who do you want to be signed to? Who do you know, who, if you had a dream situation, what would it be? Especially when you get managers, when you get agents, they ask you what your goal is, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically like, where do you see yourself if all the stars align? And I used to say I want to be on Bad Boy Records because I always liked Biggie, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I had a meeting one time, and this dude was like, he was like, I don't know if you want to be over there. And I was like, why? And he was like, Diddy has a thing about like making straight dudes try to suck his dick. You know what I'm saying? He's not gay though. He's not gay. It's just like a power thing for him. And he really likes to try to do that. And I don't know why I didn't know this guy from Adam, but the way he said it is like, he didn't know me. He already was rich. He had a lot of money. He had a lot of power. And just the way he said it was just like, there was just clout wasn't a thing back then. Like, people weren't just dropping information on social media You know what I'm saying? So like he had no reason to say that, and he had no reason to lie. And that just made me, and he had connections to everybody. And so the fact that he deterred me by saying that was like, yo, I don't know. It just always, I remember that moment forever. And that's the one that, like, because you always hear rumors in Hollywood, like you heard about, the Will Smith and Jada thing way before that it got exposed. You hear about things about, you hear things about all the stars. But that was, and for most of the time, I don't say anything because I don't care. Like, most of the things I hear about are consensual. They might be not traditional or different, but they're consensual. But when I heard about that, I was just like, yo, that's kind of wild. And I would tell anybody that wanted to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I've told that story many, many times. But that was the first Hollywood story that made me be like, yo, okay, maybe might want to rethink my path and all of this. And that's when I started doing more of the independent stuff, and structuring my deals with investors and things like that. T Shaheed says, but the feds have been building the case for at least a little over a decade and getting evidence to really take him down. Yeah, I mean, T Shaheed is right. When the feds come in, I'm sure if you're on the internet like most of us, then like when the feds come in, they already got a case built. Like they have a 99% success rate of closing cases or convicting the people that they go after. So they don't really come after you unless they have enough evidence to do so. Uh, Black Truffle TV says, if he comes out with a baby oil line, I'm done. This shit better not be. Stop. You're not getting the U.S. government involved in your rollouts, bro. That's not happening. That's funny. That's funny. Graham C says, Black Truffle SDNY doesn't lose pretty much ever. He's done. Tisha, he says, to deny him bail twice and all of the charges against him lets me know that they're going to truly make an example out of him. He's definitely DL. Those types of men love to be in control and have power. My mom has told me plenty of stories about what she was around and heard about back in the 90s, and all that shit tracks for what's being said, and the allegations about him rings true. Yeah, I just think that he's truly sick, twisted, and inhumane individual. I do think that his cruelty can be can't be excused. His cruelty cannot be excused. I think his sexual proclivities, while very unconventional, I don't think everybody involved was being forced. But I do think that the larger conversation is about I'm talking like super macro, like the super larger I don't even know if I wouldn't say larger conversation, but I do think like the fuck am I trying to say? The overarching conversation is about like the repression, the way we repress sex, the way that we judge people who maybe don't fit into conventional norms. And this pushes them to closet themselves, and then when they can't be themselves, that comes out in other maybe more perverse ways. You know what I'm saying? So I think there is a conversation to be had about like allowing people to, if I truly believe that if Diddy believed he could be a gay man in hip hop, a lot of that aggression might not have existed. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that conversation is never had, that angle is never spoken about. And I do think that you know it's just definitely more nuanced than he's a sick bastard. He's a monster. He did monstrous things that are not excusable, but I do think there are layers to the conversation is what I'm saying. Seven Record says, I've been hit up every day this week, maybe 3 times a day, about my opinion on this. It's coming. A lot of people are speaking from the outside. Man's a dirtbag, but I'll give an opinion. Seven Record says, from knowing that side personally. Yeah, and that's another, To me, like all I need to see is the Cassie video to have my opinion formed. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. I get that. I get that. You have an inside perspective, but my opinion's pretty much formed. But I definitely would want to hear like your viewpoint on it. Black Shovel TV says it's about to get Vince Staples deep. Graham C says it's about to get Vince McMahon deep. Tisha, he says I've always seen the devil in his eyes. To be honest, my feeling of discernment is strong. He was definitely being enabled in all aspects of it. He's not the only one that needs to go down for sure. I mean, he's not going to be the only one that goes down for sure. This is a RICO case. There's agents and managers and other security guards that are named in this case. So we're going to see a lot of names go down. In fact, like the Kid Cudi aspect, because arson is one of the charges, and he, I don't know if you guys paid attention to this. I think we talked about it on the show very briefly, but he set Kid Cudi's car on fire, and basically he had his goons cut the convertible top open in Kid Cudi's car and drop a Molotov cocktail in there, and set his car on fire because Cassie and Cudi started dating, I think, during like a period where Diddy and Cassie broke up. So I mean, he is like a true supervillain mafia boss type, and all I can think as I hear these charges is that racism really exists. I'm not saying, hear me out, I'm not saying at all that this has anything to do with there being racist against Diddy. That is not what I'm saying. I think throw the book at that nigga, send him away. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that Diddy and Donald Trump are the same person. They're the same exact person. I guarantee you, if you dig deep into Donald Trump's closet, he's the way that the way that he was not fazed about getting shot at, he set some people's cars on fire. He's definitely, you know what I'm saying, done some mafia type shit for sure. He's a monster to women. We know this to be true. And his character is never even called into question. I mean, he's still a top nominated seat as a presidential candidate. And he has millions of followers who behave just like him, and nobody cares. And to me, it just screams like the irony is just insane that like one can be president and the other is super vilified. I want to see them both be vilified. Let me be very clear about that. I don't want to see I don't want to see both of them go free. I don't want to see P. Diddy for president. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying it's very interesting how they are the same person, They are the same person to a T. They're both billionaire monster mafia types, but one is president and one is a pariah. Brother C says Chris Williams, you know what happened to him. Facts. Tisha, he says definitely 100 because the white motherfuckers get away with everything they do until it's hard not to throw the book at them. Look at Jeffrey Epstein, case in point. Yeah, I mean he could leave the jail. Like he could leave the jail, and he still was relatively like accepted after. Like he got convicted, I think, a couple times. I think he got convicted more than one time, and like he was still relatively fine until the last conviction. Tisha, he says Harvey Weinstein is another one. Clive Davis needs to go too. Lucian Grange, all them sick motherfuckers. I mean, I don't know. I've heard stories about Clive Davis for sure. Nothing about assault, but definitely gay things. But again, I try to just wait till facts are out because I don't think there's anything wrong with being gay. So like a lot of people act like being gay is the crime, and that's definitely not the crime. You know what I'm saying? Like being freaky is not a crime. It's just if you're making people do shit with you outside of their consent, that's what the crime is. Seven Record says you gonna love the episode with me with OG. I was supposed to drop publicly, but was way too spicy for that. Y'all got to subscribe. He's talking about Iceberg Lounge podcast. Make sure you do that. Tisha, he said Clive is the main one. LOL. Where you think Diddy learned his behavior? I mean, I've actually heard that before too, but again, like I've only heard rumors, and it's hard to know what's real and what's not when it comes to the rumors. Seven Records says, I still may not even drop, but boy, we got it in on politics. Ooh, I want to hear that one. We still got a little bit more time. Let me know if there's anything you want to hear. It's just $5 Cash App or Venmo. Our Cash App is Connect the Coast. Our Venmo is Connect the Coast 2021. I will flash them on the screen shortly, but just make sure you include the name of the song and the artist. And I got you. I'll play some music after this commercial break, and then we'll come back for our last conversational segment. I'm gonna look up what Graham was talking about, and we'll check it out.